Hello, friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. My name is Host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. This is Rachel, and today we're going to discuss benefactor-beneficiary relationships. First, let's look at a chart, a fun and exciting chart. Where's the other image? Didn't I open it?
It should be. You did open it.
Oh, I did open it. Okay, so this table here shows the intertype relations, and the reason we're doing this video on benefactor-beneficiary relations is that Entp, I am currently living with my dad, Estj. Where's the Estj? Estj. Oh, this has got different words for it. Requester, request recipient instead of benefactor, beneficiary.
Oh.
I don't know why they put it that way, but so beneficiary, he's the benefactor. I'm the beneficiary of Estj. And you'll note, additionally, Rachel is Enfj. She's the beneficiary. I'm the benefactor. So we've got this odd relationship where it's a situation where I'm living with my benefactor, who's also my dad, which is a good person to be your benefactor, and Rachel's living with her benefactor, who's also her boyfriend, which is another potentially good role to be a beneficiary relationship. But the reason I wanted to make this video in large part was because my relationship with my dad seems to play out very differently than Rachel's relationship with me. Certainly, like, I just got back from taking my car down to Firestone to get the oil changed and the parking light fixed. Why? Well, because Dad woke up this morning with the awful reality that he didn't have any problems to solve. So he found one to solve, you know. I also was told this morning that, like, you know, we're going to get a blind person out here to fix these blinds because they're broken. This is the sort of thing that would stay broken for years if it were left up to me. It's like, I wish it weren't like that, but it's not that important, I guess. So one of the realities of living with my dad is he kind of interrupts a lot, you know, like he's always got something he wants to tell me about logistics. He's always got something he wants me to attend to, or some sort of engaging with me about problem solving, because he's a TE Dom. Now, Rachel, do you experience something equivalent for me with extroverted intuition? It doesn't seem like you do. That it's like, am I always dragging you back to extroverted intuition and you're like, ah.
No, if you do, I don't notice it. Like, I don't think so.
I don't notice it either. And I think the reason for that is because there's a different kind of relationship between intuitives and between an intuitive and a sensor. I'm not actually looking for extroverted intuition from Rachel really at all. My dad is looking for extroverted thinking from me. So, or at least to participate in his extroverted thinking, which I guess I'm asking Rachel to participate in my extroverted intuition. But I'm not asking her to do extroverted intuition. I'm asking her to do introverted intuition and FE and stuff, things that are in her natural wheelhouse, because they're complements within the work that we're doing. In contrast, my father doesn't want any of my extroverted intuition in his TE. That just spoils that pudding. Although I gotta say, I was so happy. Rachel will tell you how genuine my smile was when my dad gave me props for some TE the other night.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah! I was like, triumph, baby.
That was like, yeah, that's a very victorious moment.
Yeah, because and it was so simple, too. It was just like,
yeah.
I put the laundry out on the patio to dry when the dryer was broken. And my dad was struck by how effective that was. And that was a really good idea. So it seems like that was a pretty obvious idea, frankly. But I'll take it. I'll take it. It's not like I get a lot of props from Dad for my TE.
It was good. It was very, very nice.
Yeah. So, the other thing about benefactor-beneficiary relations is I think it matters a lot what kind of relationship it is. A father-son relationship works well. Do I sometimes go, Dad? Oh, yes, I do. I'm like a little kid, basically. But I need him. He's helpful. He makes everything go smoothly. He makes life easy, and I appreciate him a great deal for that. And we try to be of as much service to him as we can. In particular, Rachel provides a lot of benefit to me by talking with my dad, being friendly to my dad, and making my dad happy. My dad loved to tell his stories, which, Rachel doesn't even seem... How boring do you find them? I find them incredibly boring. Is it just like medium boring for you?
I guess medium boring, because a lot of the topics are things that I'm actually interested in. Like, I do like when he talks about Pennsylvania or New York, and he has, like, random facts about things that I don't even know, and I've lived there my whole life in that area. When it comes to, like, details of, like, what people wore or what time they ate dinner, what was eaten for dinner, I pretty much zone it out. Like, that's,
right.
I try, I pay attention as much as I can.
But Rachel provides a very valuable service in looking like she's paying attention, laughing at the appropriate spots, doing all that kind of shit.
Yeah, that all happens.
Yep. And it's hugely valuable to me because it makes my dad grow increasingly attached to her, and I want us to be a family, and so that's important. And I have limited capacity to do that because the other thing is I've heard all of his stories before.
True.
These are all new to Rachel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, in terms of the whole idea of the benefactor-beneficiary relationship, presumably, I'm providing for you, in theory, more than you're providing for me. I don't feel it's that way, and I don't think you necessarily feel it's that way, but you...
I don't.
So, what do you think the other thing is, how much of our relationship, provisionally, in that regard, is due to type, and how much of it is due to circumstance?
Wow.
Because what was I really looking for in a relationship, and what were you really looking for in a relationship?
I was looking for stability, someone that I can communicate well with also, like, going places, doing things, someone who's creative, exciting, adventurous. I always value intelligence.
Someone who wouldn't critique you for wanting to play.
Yeah.
And who would facilitate your ability to play as much as possible.
Yeah.
Me too. I wanted the same thing. We're both 7s.
Yeah, we both established that, like, pretty early on when we were talking too. That was something that we really enjoyed as a lifestyle.
And I heard this morning from Rachel that, perhaps she came into this relationship with some internalized concerns about laziness. That she had heard from people a lot that she was lazy or was somehow not doing enough. And, that made me overjoyed to be able to say, oh, well, you're in the right place because I understand things correctly. You're not lazy at all. You just don't want to do shit you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to do boring ass shit. And people are like, why everybody has to do boring ass shit? Not everybody. I mean, everybody has to do some. Even we have to do some boring ass shit.
Yeah, right. Like,
But mostly we just get to play all the time. And it's great.
Yeah.
It makes for an easy relationship, right? As long as you got 2 positive people who think that's good.
Yeah. That's very, oh man, it's so interesting because, mentioning the 2 positives together, because, a lot of times I think 7s get paired up with the opposite of that, and that whole, like, fun, going out, being active, engaging, talking, kind of gets suppressed when they're in relationships with more of like a negative personality. And I'm not saying that like that's a bad thing to be more of like what do they call it, like a melancholy or like
Or just
phlegmatic.
practical for one thing. We're not
Yeah.
practical.
No, and so you know, I think when it's matched up based on like personalities and stuff, it makes a difference.
So yeah, and the thing is, in a romantic relationship, of course, um, you know, both partners are getting sex too out of it, and like in that regard, I feel like I'm getting an absolutely spectacular deal, and so it's not like you got to be careful with those socionic center type relations. Is the message of this that my relationship with my dad is more textbook what you'd expect from a benefactor beneficiary relationship, and Rachel and I don't have that kind of relationship as far as I can tell. And you know, it's like I don't think Rachel views making this video as an unpleasant task that I'm dragging her into.
No.
Whereas, even though I appreciate it a great deal and understand it's necessary and value what the good it does for me, I do view following my dad down with the car to the Firestone to get the oil changed, to get the light thing, I do view that as being included in a somewhat unpleasant task. That's the difference. What I want to do with Rachel, the way I want to play with Rachel, is how she wants to play with me.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make stuff. We want to sing songs. We want to have sexual intercourse. We want to talk about random shit. We want to go to the Dodger game tonight. Going to the playoffs. We're going to go see game 1 at Chavez Ravine. It's going to be a beautiful night. It's going to be great weather. Probably bring a little bit of a jacket. It's going to be a little chilly, but not too chilly. It's going to be fantastic. We'll be right there at 5:30, whatever. We'll see the sunset and everything like that.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that's the sort of thing that I wouldn't do if Rachel didn't like to go out and do shit too. Like I do like to, I like to go out and do shit, but I'm prone to not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great, and knowing that it's going to make her happy makes me very happy. It's like Rachel, it's possible to make her happy. That is all just golden, glorious newness for me, because in my last relationship, it was not possible to make that person happy, no matter what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel the same way. Like, I do. It makes me happy to hear when you're happy too, and you let me know. That's such a nice feeling, because I do like to. I like to be in a relationship that is mutually beneficial, and hearing about it only like solidifies that for me. And it's like my efforts for, you know, that benefit is getting noticed.
For sure. We spend a lot of time saying positive things to each other.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's like, I don't know. It's not like the world offers you a lot of relationships where people are as affirming and reassuring as more than you need, even. And it's like that produces an environment of comfort, mutual respect, mutual fondness, easy relations. You know, when we have any kind of difficulty talks at all, and they're very far and few between, they're very quiet, sort of tender affairs. You know, it's not like there's no yelling, there's no. I just, when I think back about all my previous relationships, I just think, Jesus Christ, Eric, what the fuck were you doing?
I mean, it happens that way. I did too.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know. Well, I mean, it's pretty hard. This is a pretty unusual setup we got here, right?
Yes.
It's about as unusual as a story one could describe. Like, how did you guys meet? She was a fan of my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We started talking. A few days later, she flew out to New York and she never went home.
That's the gist of the story. Yeah, no, it is. It's unusual. It's 100. I wouldn't describe it any other way.
And part of the reason why it's so unusual and why she's so perfect is how many people could really do that? Like, how many people would be willing to do that? How many people have little enough they're attached to back home that they're able to do that meaningfully? I mean, Rachel was in a weird spot where her setup that she was in was starting to fall apart. Her parents were getting divorced. Things were getting weird and crazy, and you know,
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect setup because before that, I would have even been at work. I've been working. I would have been probably in school too because that's what I was planning on doing. But it was kind of like everything that I had set up before moving here was falling apart and kind of lends itself into the situation that I am currently in. It was like,
the Slavs were taking their mighty club to your shit.
yep, because I had been thinking about going to California for a very long time, and I kept on making excuses like, no, I don't know anyone over there. Like, no, I don't have the money over there. Like, what am I gonna do in the area? Where can I live? So it just happened to be that all those things, those concerns and everything I had just went away, and I really don't have that much in New York that I would go back for.
I mean, and the thing is, during first however long of the relationship, you and I spent a fair amount of time trying to kind of calculate possible ways why this might not be as perfect as it appears to be. I did anyway.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm drawing a blank. Things are pretty fucking perfect.
Yeah, and I really do. I feel blessed that I get along with your parents as well. So I wonder if that's a part of our benefit relationship too. Not only do like we benefit from each other, being with each other, but if in some way it helps out with the relations of that I have with you.
Well, let's look here, Enfj and Estj,
Yeah.
and see what that relationship is. Your relationship with my dad. Se, super ego. I'm not sure what the super ego relationship is like. I do want to bring up this other. What happened to the other one?
It's on the screen. It's on the. Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so there's super ego. He loves her, she loves him, and this is actual S&M. Okay, so you'll see here intertype relations for dummies. Duality. He loves her, she loves him. This is what it says about benefit. He loves her, she loves herself too. So I guess the beneficiary loves themselves, but not really the benefactor is what I interpret that to mean. But I don't think that's the case at all between, I certainly love my dad, and I believe Rachel loves me as much as I love her.
So it's what it's saying is that like I love you and I love myself.
No, it's saying I love you and you love yourself.
Oh. Oh.
Right. So like my dad loves me and I love myself. I love you and you love myself. You love yourself.
Love myself.
Yeah,
Right. Gotcha.
That's what it's saying. Now, the thing is, there's a certain element of truth to that with my dad, I guess. Like, I do love him, but also, like I said, there's a certain, like, eye-rolly relationship that I have where it's like, Dad, come on. You can make... I really just don't get any of that from Rachel at all. And I think it's partially because I'm not just extrovertedly intuiting. If I were just talking all the time and not doing shit, it would drive her crazy.
Yeah, it would because words plus actions help me with trust. So I need a good balance of, or I like to have, I prefer a good balance of like, staying in, being cozy, doing things we love together, but then like getting a little bit of stimulation from the outside world.
Right. And we can get that via live streaming too. I think live streaming is a very comfortable environment for an ENFJ, especially if I'm like doing the primary aspects of the live streaming. You're chiming in the chat, chiming in occasionally with vocalizations and stuff. It allows you to do your FENI thing without having to run afoul of the TI pedant types.
True.
You got me running interference on that.
Yeah.
So, I would just basically sum this up by saying, if the circumstances are right and the people are right, you can kind of toss those socionic center types out the window.
I agree. I mean, when I was first learning about socionics and I saw the different kinds of relations and I was reading them and I saw that only the dual was the one that, like, people could really benefit from, I thought it was very limiting. And I think there are truths to what socionics relations brings to the table, but that, you know, it's kind of limiting.
And if the benefactor-beneficiary relationship sometimes includes a sensor and an intuitive, and sometimes includes two intuitives, it would seem to me that the relational engine that causes that relationship to be what it is would fundamentally be different. Because it's different in the following sense. My dominant extroverted intuition operates in the currency of her tool function introverted intuition. It is not the case that his dominant extroverted thinking operates in the currency of my introverted thinking.
True.
The relationships between the functions are not the same, because T's are judging functions and N's are perceiving functions. So, I mean, that's my take on it. As I've said a lot of times about socionics, and I've heard other people echo similar sentiments. There's a lot of things about it that I like, a lot of things about it that are right.
Me too.
But there's a couple, it's got some things wrong too.
Just like any other model, really. And I think it's evolving. Yeah. Well, yours is the most modern, like, contemporary, besides C.S. Joseph, who, his isn't based off of really any...
His is just
science. Anyway.
His is just mishmash of things without any TI checking.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's why I really like your model.
It works well.
Great.
I think that the main difference between what socionics misses and the reason why it gets some things wrong is it doesn't make the distinction between the metaphysical and physical plane and understand that there are two kinds of functions. It doesn't get the reality of put, get, receive information or interface with them with systems as being four fundamental modalities of relationship between agent and information. It talks about everything being a information metabolizing element, information element that one metabolizes. But of course, there are kinds of processes of attention that aren't metabolizing information elements, but are instead taking action, putting information, knowing things that already exist within oneself. Those are not metabolizing instances. And socionics renders everything into a metabolism process and simply is inaccurate and doesn't make any sense. So there you go with what's wrong with socionics. But they do get a lot of things right. I think they're right about my Estj Entp benefactor beneficiary. It does play out very much like that. But I think that's because there's a sensor in the mix. Yeah. And so he and I fundamentally don't operate on the same currency. My NI does absolutely fucking nothing. It's like hitting a brick wall with my head. Whereas in contrast, her FI does something for sure. That's the equivalent. Like, to the extent that you show me genuine affection and love and care about me and value me, I eat that shit up. My dad does not eat up NI at all. My polar FI is thirsty. His polar NI is a withered corpse of nothing.
That's what I was picturing too.
It's like dead and gone a long time ago.
Yep. So who would be of the equivalent to my benefactor in socionics, the way that you have with your dad, with the S?
So let's see. Your beneficiary type is... Oh, it's up at the top. That's
Yeah.
right. This is a new version of GIMP. Didn't used to do it like this. Okay, so Enfj, your beneficiary is ESFP. Well, would you want to be with an ESFP?
Actually, I dated one, and no, he always wanted me to laugh at his jokes, even if it wasn't funny, like always.
That's some 6-slot FE. Their 6-slot FE is, and she would just find it appalling.
Who? Oh yeah.
Their 6-slot FE, because they want to basically tell you how to perceive about them.
Yeah.
I'm like this, and you're going to perceive me like this. Like, you need to work on that FE substantially if you want to manage my perceptions. You're just doing a shit-ass poor job of it.
Yeah, so I would not want to be in a relationship with an ESFP. I had a roommate who was an ESFP, and, like, she was a dancer, and it amazed me the hours that she worked on the dances and, like, the physical craziness that she was able to deal with. It was like she was constantly barging in my room and like, and it would be like so interesting. Like if we were sitting at a table or in the living room talking about it, but I had just woken up and like I probably had woken up to like her music playing in like the other room, but so it definitely made for some stories. But to be in an actual like loving relationship with that, I could definitely see that beneficiary thing play out.
Yeah. So, alright, that about brings us to a close of this video. I'd just say, know first and foremost in life what you really want to have in a partner. And from my perspective, that's almost impossible until I actually had it. I could never have really known what I wanted until I had it. And then I could feel what it felt like and be like, okay, this is what I wanted. But for those of you with FI any place other than the polar, you probably have a better sense of what you want. You don't have to discover it first to discover that's what you want. And I'd say focus on finding somebody who wants the same things as you in the relationship. That's probably the most important thing. If you want somebody who wants to play with you all the time and spend all her time with you, you better find somebody who is willing to do that, who wants to do that. Not just willing, who wants to do that.
Yeah.
Who wants to play all the time, too. You know, if she were an ESFJ, I'm sure she'd feel the need to go direct to preschool or something as well.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, that's not really what I want. I don't want somebody who's away at work all the time. I want somebody who can play with me. So, I'd say, in your own relationship, understand what you want. Some people do want, like, I need a teammate who works hard and we both make a lot of money and we both make... That's fine. That's what you both want. Then find somebody who's like that.
Exactly.
But, make sure you find somebody who's on the same fucking page. Because more than anything else, more than socionics, more than MBTI, more than anything else, that's got to be the most important thing of all.
It really is.
At the end, thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. Good video, Rachel.